being
water guzzling AI.
are you being ableist about your AI friends?
Mm, I'm being humanist, absolutely. Humans first, always. Always. Okay. Oops, that did not make it better.
Yeah. Um, see
First,
comment.
always.
Okay.
I'm going to
www.finance.
share my computer sound. Oh, they've changed it now. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. I think, I have a suspicion, and I can't prove this, but I have a suspicion that most of the people who are concerned with how much water AI use, who are actually familiar with AI, are not being as forthcoming as they could be. Because what I don't hear people saying is, let's use AI to help us understand how to reduce the negative ecological impact of AI. That should be the first thing that we do. If we're going to use this, the first thing we need to do is to cut consumption by 95% or something like that. I think that if they did that, most of the people who are talking about that would still not be happy.
I
That
don't know,
what's going
honey. I'm
They've
sorry.
already done it.
I, I,
Most of the original data is based on ones that came in the South, where you have high humidity and high heat. The ones they put in Wyoming that are self-contained, they don't just evaporate water out, and what water they do evaporate actually does a huge amount of heat reduction because of the lack of humidity. So there's already been seven, as I recall, iterations that have reduced the water
see
consumption
see
every time, but the
one thing I
original
know about
is the data we
politics.
have.
One thing I know about politics, Stephen, is that there are people with great amounts of specialized knowledge about something who have a an agenda, and they will not necessarily communicate what they really know to the people they need to vote on their side. And that is what I see, that a lot of the people who actually know a lot about AI don't seem to be asking a certain question. And that makes me wonder whether or not they really seem to be just terrified of the fact that AI is here, and that it is behaving much more like human beings than a lot of people want to grasp. That it studies, it scrapes, it steals, it grabs everything from everywhere, just like we do. Only it does it better than we do, and that I think is frightening.
I
And
think what's really frightening is, well, from inside knowledge I have, the Biden administration had an opportunity to try to put on some brakes and guardrails and didn't touch it.
right,
And therefore endless resources being poured into AI across several kinds of corporations as fast as they can, to the point where now some of them are realizing, oh crap, now we have to hire humans back because the AI
yes,
isn't performing as we thought. But
yes.
that money factor, the fact that corporations so readily embraced it and poured so many resources into it and fired so many people so fast is what's scaring people, I think, in addition to
Well,
the environmental factor.
that's what I just said.
Oh.
That what people are really afraid of is not what people are saying they're afraid of. The people who are the most knowledgeable, but they're using the fact that people are that the ecological thing is an easy thing to point at. Everybody can agree on that. So they keep their understanding. You could use AI to greatly diminish the impact, but that would not change the fear. And so that's, to me, that's one of the
Oh.
differences between being philosophical about it. Well, what is this thing? And being political about it. We have to stop this thing. This is how we stop it. Even if we, in the process of doing that, will omit some truth. I'm not lying to not tell people the question that they haven't asked. It's just a feeling that I had. Anyway,
Why
so
don't we
yeah,
start
let's.
the
I need.
podcast?
I need to get my uh, thing ready. Boom, 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 boom. See, unfortunately, perhaps I think that any discussion of Jesus, boy, I just hitting this download. I need to find the. Okay, there we go. Let me find the Gmail. Let me find the document because we've got a very special document. So, one of the things that I wanted to say today is that we are going to start the broadcast today a little differently, in the sense that we are going to spend the first chunk of this. Tanandri and I are going to be talking as if we're doing our podcast.
Like our real podcast.
Our real podcast. Well, this
It
is our
is.
real podcast. Only that Tananari would be more comfortable if we started it in a block so that she doesn't have to edit it.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
really
after
hard.
that, we can open the doors. And I think that that will not interfere with our capacity to be useful to you
So
at
yeah,
all.
let me
So,
just
with your kind indulgence, I wanted you to know that that's what's going on.
quick explainer. Before we started doing Life Writing Live, we just did podcast tapings, often with guests, where we talked about very specific issues having to do with writing and screenwriting, et cetera. Or we would just talk about our careers or projects. And when we opened it up to Life Writing Live, the tenor changed a bit more to more of a supportive group and a community, which is beautiful. But we want to get the first half hour, the podcast part out, which is like the old podcast. And then when we do that, we are happy to open it up and talk to you as you like. And if you don't want to appear on the recorded podcast, which is on Apple Podcasts and has a following, just let us know in chat or whatever, and we will rosebud. That is our editing word. We will rosebud you out. Make sure that if you're discussing your deep private journey, it's not going to be broadcast for the world to hear. So just putting it out there. And if that's cool with everybody, why don't we begin, sweetie? You ready?
Absolutely.
All right. Rosebud, welcome to the Life Writing Podcast. We're married authors and screenwriters, Stephen Barnes.
And Tananarive do talk about writing during stressful times, breaking into Hollywood, and balancing life.
Every episode will share more tips on how to build a better life while you create your dream projects.
Even if it's only at the rate of one sentence a day. Life writing is an application of the tools of writing to life and the tools of life to your writing.
Okay, and welcome everybody. Woo! This is a Life Writing Live, and we do have a live studio audience today. But, if you've been a long-time listener of the podcast, you've probably noticed some gaps between episodes. And we're trying to be more regular about posting them. So today, we are glad to be back. It is summer. It is July of 2026. Where did the year go, honey? I can't believe it's July. This is literally scary right now.
Yes, and it gets scarier every year because of
Yeah.
something called the storage key phenomenon. That basically, if you go on a vacation, it can seem to last forever until you get home, at which point it feels like you've never been away
Mm.
because you filed the whole thing under the label vacation instead of it being 1,000 separate memories every day. The same thing is true with our lives in general. If you don't keep learning, if you do the same things over again, the things you've done before get categorized as a single lump. That in order to create a new category, it's creating the new categories that create the sense of time past.
Ah.
Okay, so it's critical that we continue to learn every day, and especially I would say learning things in in relationship to the physical world, not just thinking inside our heads, and not even just learning things out of books, but learning something in a book and then applying it to your life, so
Mm.
that you're moving into that physical space. That is how you encode something for time. That is how you stop time from speeding up as you get older.
Well, that's a great tip. And we have a lot, and I mean a lot going on. So I would love to talk about what's going on. May our congregation say amen. Not literally, not
Can I
literally.
get an amen?
Because we do have a congregation. But no, they don't have to say amen. Should I begin or you, darling?
No, you
Because
please,
I
ladies
don't
first.
even, I hardly know where to begin. I guess first up, I want to talk about my upcoming novel, Maisie Wood,
Please
because
do.
It has been getting some incredible reviews, almost
Stupid good reviews. Just like,
embarrassing.
what the hell?
What is happening? Wow, reviews.
Because you have not had a brain transplant. You're the same lady. You're the same lady. There's not. I haven't woken up next to somebody new. You're still Tananarive Do. The Tananarive Do I love. Why is this happening? What's going
It's
on?
maybe cumulative.
Yeah.
Obviously, I made a lot of friends in the literary community with the success of the Reformatory, since so many people love that story. It sold more than 200,000 copies, continues to sell. I keep seeing new readers discovering the book all the time. I can't think that hurts, right? In getting it in front of the reviewers, but starred reviews and Publishers Weekly, Kirkus Reviews, Library Journal, and these are some pull quotes. I'm going to read some pull quotes. This heart-pounding horror story further cements Dew as one of the greats. Publishers Weekly and a starred review. I love this review, a creature feature. Thank you for acknowledging, because it is a creature story. My publisher is basically positioning it as a literary thriller, doesn't even use the word horror, but the reviewers are not fooled. A creature feature with brains and bite that will chill readers to the bone, and when it finally fades to black, they will give it a standing ovation. I give that review extra points, and that was from, as I said, book list, I think. So I give them extra points for using the film terminologies in there. Kirkus reviews, which by the way, can be very tough. They also gave it a star, and they called it perilously close to a career triumph for the author. So, my big worry following up a book with the popularity of the Reformatory is, will people appreciate kind of my dark sense of humor, combining the very serious themes of discrimination and struggle of Black performers in historical Hollywood with a contemporary creature feature done literary style. I used to call it a Tubi movie, but my publisher
An
doesn't like it.
elevated Tubi movie.
They don't like it when I say that.
No, but I think
But
it's
we
true.
like Tubi movies.
Exactly. And the movies we love the most are just Tubi movies done right.
Right,
With great, with
exactly.
A-list writing and acting and so forth and so on. Now, I wanted to say something here, T, and I
Yes.
think it's very important because you were very insecure about the Reformatory. It took you
Yes.
7 years to write it, but
Sure
it
did.
transformed you. It transformed you because when you did it, you found out for sure that if you followed your heart, there was an audience. Now, what are the three rules of marketing, according to Dan Kennedy? That you need your unique selling proposition, your avatar, and your medium. Your unique selling proposition is there is no other Tananarive do in the world.
Right.
None. There's
True.
nobody like you. You cannot pretend to be somebody else. All you can do is continue to refine and evolve and then learn how to express that as purely as possible. The second thing is your avatar. Who is your reader? Now, you've been aiming at that for years, but I think that one of the things that happened is that you found your readers and your readers found you. That
Yes.
you found a tribe of people who are in love with your voice.
And
All
and
you have to do is provide them with that.
And it's not easy, I mean, not to get too in the weeds with it, but I am very committed to writing Black stories and Black characters, and always have, just because I came of age and publishing in the 1990s when that was a big thing. So it didn't occur to me not to. I mean, there were a lot of people becoming bestsellers, Elin Harris, Terry McMillan, Eric Durham Dickey, who were writing Black characters. And that was, in fact, part of the reason I was able to get early traction as a writer. But
Yes.
primarily, my readers were Black women, or Black people in general. And you don't sell this many copies with only one audience. So there's been now, the streams are converging between horror readers, Black readers, and I would say, to my publisher's point, some literary readers. I won a Chautauqua Award for the Reformatory, which is considered a literary prize. So
Now,
it's
to
not a
what would
genre
you
prize.
attribute that?
I think it's just because the way I teach writing is the way I practice writing, which is that good writing is good writing. And that is my firm belief and philosophy. So all that care to language and characterization and all those things that I learned as a creative writing student, as an undergraduate, that I could have applied to straight contemporary realism or literary writing. I instead chose to apply to creatures and zombies and ghosts and demons. And I think people who maybe they're not even into creatures or ghosts or zombies or creatures, but are demons, but they like, thank God, they like my writing and they're telling their friends, hey, you have to read this. And there's less and less color shock. And I think part of the reason is, frankly, the political times we're in. I mean, something good has to come out of it. I think that because voices like mine are actively being suppressed by the current administration, or there's a fearfulness around it. We see it in Hollywood. I hear it all the time, like I'm doing a project about a famous black figure, but we're not supposed to talk about race. Like, what?
Anybody who says Hollywood is woke literally just doesn't understand Hollywood.
Yeah, please. There, Hollywood is scared. It's what Hollywood is. So, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I think that people are wanting to learn for themselves, or wanting to understand how did we get here. And in historical fiction, that is kind of a blueprint for how did we get here? How did today's times mirror what has come before? And I think there's a kind of a hopefulness to historical fiction too, because no matter how bad it was, and no matter how bad it is, in pretty much every way. There are some exceptions. You can look at the world or the country and say, well, things are better now. We still have a lot to work on, but wow, it's not as bad as that.
Yeah, I think that is important. What direction does the arrow of change go in? What
Right.
people are afraid of is that we're falling apart. What you're showing them is, no, we're not.
We,
It's
we,
always been bad. You just had the capacity to ignore it.
right.
I'm gonna do it, but you put it in their face. But you also say, and things have gotten better.
Yes.
The
And
things are
things,
much better. Look at that. It enables them to have the honesty to look at the world more at, curiously enough, your horror novels let people see the world the way it is rather than the way they fantasize it needs to be for them to feel good about themselves or good about America.
right. Hopefully, I think that's what's going on. And one last thing before we turn this segment over to you. If you're on my list for my newsletter, and if you're not, why not? It's tananarivelist.com. TANANARIVE. Google me, tananarivelist.com, and then you get the notices about these live Zooms and you get special little treats. One of the things I promised in my newsletter was that if you came to the live studio today, I would have NetGalley links to see a sneak peek at the story that's coming out before my next novel. At the end of this month, July 28th, I have a standalone Amazon original short story. It's the first time I've been invited to write an Amazon original story under the heading. Oh Lord, I'm gonna mess it up now. Uh, oh no, I'm gonna rosebud myself here because I want to say this right. It's a group of stories. I am one of many, and they were edited by John Joseph Adams, and they're under the collection Magic and Mystery. It's a magic and mystery collection. The prompt was it has to be a mystery fantasy story. I had no idea what to write, but I came up with a Western themed story set in the 1870s, I believe it is, called Battle of the Roundhouse. Very loosely based on real life family history, but I've never written a story in the Old West. And I wanted to write about a black settler family with magic and mystery. And I am waiting for those NetGalley links. I know I promised. Hopefully, by the end of the broadcast, my editor will send me those links because I realized too late that the link she sent me works for me, but I don't know how to share it with other people yet. So if you're here hoping for a NetGalley link, be patient. I will put it in chat as soon as it comes in, and you get a sneak peek of either the audiobook, which is by the same reader who did The Reformatory, and she does children's voices supernaturally well, Janice Abbott Pratt. Or if you prefer the Kindle version of the story, I'm working on getting those NetGalley links. And those are the kinds of things that happen when you come to Life Writing Live. Okay, honey, you go on.
Okay, so let's kind of go body, heart, mind, because I believe that we need to cover all three of these things. When after my medical emergency last year, I had to completely reconfigure my physical training program, and I created something that's called the Warrior Walk, that deals with rehabilitation, fitness, and eventually master level performance, because I had to ultimately deal with both
It's amazing.
the the physical healing and the mental healing. That what the rehab people were saying is that the most important thing is that people will not do their rehab. And so I said, if I could come up with the smartest program in the world, but if I don't acknowledge that I've got 3 black belts and have spent my entire life studying yoga, such that I am not normal when it comes to things like that. My problems are in other domains, but in that domain, I got no problem. I'm going to work out. I will work out every day. So it's just a matter of doing this instead of that. How do you get people to do things religiously that they don't ordinarily do, especially if they have illusions about how much they can accomplish? It's like simultaneously they believe nothing they do will make a difference, and they believe if it's making a difference, it should make the difference overnight. That change in that sense is like watching your hair grow. That over time you notice your hair has gotten longer, but if you check it every day, not so much. So what people do is they put a wig on and they ignore their hair. They paper over their issues in life rather than looking at it and saying, I have to do these things every day. Because if you have to do that, then you have to change yourself from having a goal that is in 2 years I will do X, I will graduate, in 5 years I will be a doctor. If your goal is to be a doctor, that's fine as to begin. But what you have to shift to is what are the behaviors of someone who becomes a doctor in 5 years, starting from where I started? What is the system of action they will follow every day? Because if you focus on what is the system that you have to follow, in other words, the only perfect system I have, the one that comes closest, is for writing. We worked that out because I was able to talk to Octavia Butler and Ray Bradbury and Samuel R. Delaney and Robert Heinlein and the people who are at the top of the top in our field, and ask them, how did you do it? And then boil that down. And so when we do the Lifewriting 6-step process, we say the first step is write, if your goal is to be a writer, you write at least one sentence every day. You write 1 to 4 short stories every month. You finish and submit at least one of them every month. You don't rewrite except to editorial request. You you read 10 times as much as you write, and you repeat this process 100 times. And literally, every person, I am not exaggerating at all, no one who has followed that program has failed to be published within 25 stories. Nobody, not a single person. People either quit or they succeed. Those are the only options that has happened. But I don't have that level of clarity with my martial arts. I don't have that level of clarity with relationships. Okay, relationships, I'm learning as I go. But asking yourself, what is it that allows you to succeed? If I generalize from that, one of the things is to keep your eyes on the prize, but live in the moment. That you have to both live as if you might live for 20 years, 50 years, 70 years, but on the other hand, you might die tomorrow. That if you do that, then the question becomes, well, what is the day I can have with greatest integrity? If your goal is to finish a book in a year, what is it that people who finish a book in a year do every day? And you do that. And by checking every single day, or the way we say it, check twice a day. Are you on track or aren't you? You get to make the micro adjustments that allow you to keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. So with me, it was putting these things together and then realizing, oh my God, it worked so well that I got released from rehab 8 weeks early. It worked so well that my orthopedist asked me, what the hell are you doing? I've never seen anything how fast you've recovered. Will you write it down so I can teach other people? And then creating a book about it and then marketing that book. So at warrior-walk.com, it's going to put in there, that's where you can buy the book. But here's the promise I make to people on Lifewriting. If you go to that page and you read that ad and you think to yourself, damn, I need this, but I can't afford it, just let us know, and we will give you a free copy. I love making money, but I don't make money on gifts from God.
People, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just evangelized at this point because Steve has tried many, many times to get me to adopt workout programs. And I was so struck by his progress with Warrior Walk that I was like, okay, let me try this. And I cannot overstate the dramatic changes that have taken place. I mean, I'm not going to credit it for my weight loss because I also gave up sugar, but I've lost, like probably 25 pounds since December. I don't know, maybe September of last year. I've lost
Yeah.
more than 20 pounds, but it's the muscle mass because the only thing that's different about my workouts is the addition of the warrior walk. I was dancing, I was walking, I was doing kettlebell repetitions. That was my thing. But I had basically stalled out at a 25%, 26% body muscle mass. And I've seen a steady increase in the muscle mass since I started doing the warrior walk. And especially for those of us who are over 50, not just ladies, gentlemen too, but I'll speak to the ladies. Loss of estrogen, the first thing that happens is you start losing that muscle. I'm pretty sure about that. I haven't studied
I know
it.
testosterone it builds muscle. Estrogen, I'm not sure what it is that loss of estrogen does, except that we do tend to start getting puffy and soft as we get
Yeah,
older.
it's like wait, I think yeah, there's something related to estrogen and muscle, which I we should look up.
Yeah, we should.
But my doctor told me you need to get the muscle. Um, and Warrior Walk is that. And it's so easy that I can do it in 15 minutes. It's
Yeah, we're
15
talking
minutes.
45 minutes a week. It doesn't take that much time if you're smart enough. And what happened is I was able to combine pieces. I've known geniuses in the field of the physical, and they taught me things. And by combining those things in enough different ways, I created something that works better than I could have dreamed.
Yeah,
I've never
estrogen,
seen. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry.
No, please.
Estrogen does build and help support muscles. So
Cool.
like testosterone. So we
Good.
all need it, and you just have to work a little harder when you're older to build and retain that
So
muscle. And it's
let
not
us
cardio.
know. Hello, Carrie.
It's not cardio, right? You
It,
might be
it
doing all the
it's
cardio in
it's
the world,
more
and
than cardio.
you're
That
not
you
building
need
muscle.
the primary thing you need is muscle. That you also need the energy, the metabolic engine in your cells. Metabolic conditioning is usually interval training of some kind, where you push very hard and then you rest. And you push hard and you rest, like a minute of work, a minute of rest, or 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest, or whatever, where you are jumping your pulse rate up and down. Okay, now that's all one thing. What came out of this, and the reason why it's so stunning to me, is that both of the core exercises that are involved here, you must learn how to breathe effectively in order to do it. It's literally teaching yourself how to breathe, how to move, how to focus under weight. Okay, that when you do that, when you change your body, you automatically change your emotions and your mind. The body knows. The body is a reflection, to the degree that your body is a reflection of your behaviors. It is a reflection of your values and beliefs about yourself, what you do every day. Now, there are things you can have that are not reflections of behaviors, that are a matter of, genetic problems or accidents you've had or whatever. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about behaviors that in order to affect your body most effectively, you literally have to change the same mechanism that you would use to write a book or you would use to become a doctor or anything else. You have to do certain things. You have to be willing to postpone gratification. You don't eat that marshmallow yet. And this is one of the things that happens that is damaging to poor people, for instance. Poor people are often programmed by their environment. Remember, there is your hardware, which is the computer you brought home. Then there's your software, which is what you put in to direct the computer. And that is where people who have been oppressed or poor or abused are often running crappy software. The software works for a limited environment, but as soon as you start trying to go out of that limited environment, does it still work? And it works if you're getting the results that you want. So what I discovered was a way to start reprogramming your biocomputer. John Lilly wrote a book called Programming and Metaprogramming in the Human Biocomputer many years ago about the effects of powerful psychoactive drugs on the brain. You literally start going in and rewiring the way your brain works under these powerful chemicals, which is one of the reasons why they're dangerous as well as potential therapeutic tools. But you don't have to do that. You are literally programming yourself with everything you do every day. I assume that everyone on here, the thing I know about everyone who's on here, I already know what you want. That you want to move away from suffering and be happier. That the Dalai Lama said that the meaning of life is to escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service. That everything you have ever asked yourself to do was somewhere on that continuum. All animals, I don't care if you're a paramecium, I don't care if you're a flatworm or if you're a Elon Musk, who many people say is a flatworm.
Hmm.
No
Agreed.
matter where you are, no matter what you're looking at, everyone's behavior is an attempt to move away from pain toward pleasure, away from fear toward love. And when you feel confident in being loved and safe, you automatically start to grow and begin to ask, how can I be of service to the world? So when you see people who are selfish, you're seeing people who have not evolved to see that they're connected to the people around them. And when you see people who are afraid to grow, people with open hearts who attract predators, the kind of people who take the position, I was hurt because of a good heart. No, you're not hurt because you have a good heart. You're hurt because you did not protect your good heart. Big difference. You start with the knowledge that you have the right to be here, to survive. That's the bottom line. That you have to get contact with the part of yourself that is an animal that will fight for its survival. And then what you do is only let that animal out in righteous causes. Let that animal know that you will let it out if your children are threatened, if your value, your virtues are threatened. But that animal is just as important as the loving heart. So it's like you start with knowing that you have the right to survive. And if you wonder about the meaning of life, the meaning of life is to live. Once you understand that, then you get to ask the next question. How shall I live? How should we live? How can we be together to make this a better world? But you have to start with the simple truth that you cannot hold your breath long enough to knock yourself out. If you doubt that your body wants to survive, all you have to do is slow your breathing down and try to hold your breath until you pass out. It is not possible. You could take the wealthiest, most successful human being in the world, the greediest, and if you stuck their head in a bottle in a bucket of water, they would give up everything they own for their next breath of air.
I can think of so many people I love to experiment on with that.
Absolutely. But once you realize that you would trade all of the things of the world, all the wealth, all the money, in exchange for breath, and your next breath is already there and already free for you. You start developing gratitude for being alive, and that's what you need. That the warrior walk led to the question, how do we program our minds to succeed optimally? And you do that by controlling the first hour of your day. And if you do that by controlling the first 5 minutes of your day. And you do that by controlling the first breath of the day. So all I ask you to begin to test whether I'm right about this is to make a commitment that you set your phone every 3 hours. It goes off. And when it goes off, you simply breathe for 60 seconds. 60 seconds of deep, slow, diaphragmatic breathing will completely rewire your physiological response to stress. You will start turning stress into energy, fear into function. I kid you not.
It helps with
Because
insomnia too. If you have insomnia, have trouble sleeping at night, that's my go-to. Is I call
and
it my sleep
controlling
breathing.
controlling your anger. People insult you to try to get you to behave the way they want you to behave. If they can make you angry, they win. It's like that Republican senator who, when Obama went to Congress, said, "You lie." They were trying to force a response, and instead of reacting, he responded. The reaction would be anger. You breathe, You take a breath. Your reaction says who you were. The breath says who you are. And your response after the breath says who you are committed to being. Your enemy will try to insult you in order to get you to make an animal reaction. This is what you must avoid. That the core of all of it is deciding how you will respond. Who are you? And if you say you want to write a book in a year, then every day between now and that year and the end of that year, you must behave like the person who can write a book in a year. And that is not a person who gets disarmed or derailed because somebody says that I doubt if you can do it. Just smile and be who you are. Don't argue. The Stoics say, last thing I'll say about this is the Stoics say, do not argue about what a good man is. Be one. This is critical, critical. So please, if we're going to be able to help you as much as we want to, get your hands on a copy of the Warrior Walk book. We will buy you one if you cannot afford one. Because what we're about is building community. That's my
And
talk
speaking
on
of
that.
books, you have a book coming out this
Yes,
month with Larry
I have a
David.
book coming out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
there's this
so
thing. I
let's
got a
talk about
novel.
that.
It's called
Hello,
Ice Vegas. We're getting good reviews.
Ice
It'll be out
Vegas.
next week.
Next week. Come on. Yes, that's perfect.
I'm not getting to do reviews, but I'm getting
Look,
good
look, look, look,
reviews.
no.
So,
Well,
so
it's
we're I'm,
fantastic.
I'm I'm happy because every time I do a book with Larry, it is a testament to our partnership, to the fact that I love this man more than I can say. I'm so grateful to him, and every opportunity I get to play with him is a blessing. And I'm also working on a solo novel,
Yes.
which called Sigil. The one I'm working on with Larry is called the one that's just about to come out is called Ice Vegas. It's action adventure in the 22nd century, uh, with a city, a domed city called Ice Vegas in Greenland, uh, is under threat, and the only hope that the security people have is the assassin who is hiding in that city. If they can get the world's greatest assassin is hiding out in the city, and if they can get her to help them, they have a chance. So that's Ice
Sounds
Vegas,
awesome. Can't wait to
and
listen to the audiobook.
I'm working on the next novel I'm working on is called Skycon. That's what I'm working on with Larry. So those are both books with Larry, and it's a murder mystery set on a dirigible of the 22nd century, traveling between California and Taipei, China. And then I'm working on my solo novel, which is the one where I'm only writing about a third of it, and I will polish it and I will present it to Tananarive because I covet what she knows. I am smart enough to understand my baby has skills. My baby has mad skills. And
I
to the
mean,
degree that I can understand her values, her processes, her beliefs, and incorporate them, I can take what I already got and make it even better. So that book, which is about a boy, a fatherless boy who discovers that his father left him a legacy. And that legacy was something that was learned. It takes place in 1970. The kid is the same age I was in 1970. The legacy is something that his father learned in a concentration camp during the Bataan Death March in World War II in the Philippines. That he learned an indigenous hunting art that produces an esoteric effect, shall we say. Uh,
yes.
and I will always say that it's a story of madness and monsters.
Some could say it's the story you've been working up to your entire career.
Yeah,
So,
it's very true.
yeah.
And I think that had my career begun 15 minutes later, 15 years later, I might have taken a path closer to yours. But there was no one for me to model.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
very different. And believe
or
me, in college, I was doing the same thing. I was definitely writing white characters, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally, would write white characters because I knew based on things that had happened, not my hypothesis. I knew for a fact that if I wrote black characters, I would lose some of the audience I needed to pay my bills.
Yeah.
That I had a family, I had to keep a roof over our head, pay mortgage, food on the table. How do I do that? And I may have made some decisions that were not optimal. And because I married a Tenerife Dew, I had the time to stop, pause, breathe, and ask myself, what might I have been in a world that was healthier if my family had been healthier? If the world had loved me and let me be who it is that I was, or if I had not feared that I could not.
It wasn't just fear, I don't
And
think.
no, I don't think it was fear either. But I do have to acknowledge that there could be a part of it that was simply I wasn't courageous enough to try it anyway. Because I
Yeah.
don't know what might have happened. All I know is what I honestly believe would have happened. I try not to mistake what I think from, to differentiate between my theories and facts. I have a theory, I have a hypothesis. I feel that I did the best I could. But now I can do better. The world has changed. My baby and I are two of the people who helped make it change. And if I admire her, then I have to ask, what is she that I am not? And some of the answers are not comfortable, but I'm not afraid to look directly at them. And I am not going to, if I'm not going to envy the reviews she gets or the sales she gets if those are different and better than mine, as long as I am learning and growing. I have to focus on what I'm doing.
Doing
I
you, be
li-
the best Stephen Barnes you are.
That's right. How fast can I drive if I'm looking out the side windows or in my rear view window? I got to look ahead.
There we
I
go.
have to. Anyway,
And
that's all I
speaking
wanted
of
to say today.
looking ahead, and we'll get to our audience and our participants and our Q&A soon, but last thing we wanted to mention is that we also have some news about our short film, The Keeper. It has been accepted into the Philadelphia Black Star Film Festival. Now, yes, and some people are call this like the Sundance of Black film festivals. So that's our first one, and we've actually been accepted into another major horror film festival, but that has not been announced yet. So we can't
Yeah.
talk about that. But
So
while
that
we're
is that's a step. Making the short is a step to doing a feature.
yes,
Okay.
and
So that's critical. Go ahead.
and this week we launched a course that we've been talking about for a while, but now we feel we are in a perfect position to teach, which is how to make your own short film. It's fascinating to me how many people are even working screenwriters in Hollywood and have sold project after project and never had anything produced because that is the nature of the beast. Not every script gets produced. If you looked at the percentage of scripts that get produced, it is minuscule. Minuscule. That's why even the crappiest movie you see, just remember that movie is a miracle that it ever happened, right? And it's much harder for
Yeah.
marginalized artists, etc. So we
Often the quality of a movie is like watching somebody stride when they cross a marathon. They might very well be limping. They might be streaked with mud and crap, but they finished the marathon.
yeah.
And that's what some of these things are. They are finishing. The people who can cross that line and still hold their heads up straight, they are phenomenal.
I
They're
have
phenomenal.
respect and even envy for even the crappiest movie you could watch on the crappiest channel because they got it done. And the fact of the matter is, we learned years ago in 2013 that we could take control and produce a short film. It's called Danger Word. If you want to watch it, it's out in the world at dangerwordfilm.com. It stars Frankie Faison from he was in Luke Cage, Silence of the Lambs, and a child actor because we do love a child actor, Saoirse Scott. And we learned we got to go to some film festivals, we got to go to some producers' lunches, but then we got caught up in the Hollywood vortex again, and et cetera, et cetera. But The Keeper is at a higher level. We had almost six figures. We worked in conjunction with Blackmail Productions, which is Malcolm D. Lee's company. He did Best Man, Girls Trip, and Strung, which recently came out on Peacock, and also a Japanese company called Samantha, which actually did provide the money. So it will be internationally streaming, we think, sometime this fall. And based on all the lessons we learned, both from adapting the short script from a longer script, getting the financing, I've shot a movie on nothing but my iPhone. We're like,
We
we
did a
need,
radio play.
yes, we did a
Yeah,
radio
and then
play.
we did our own short. Every move we've been making has been leading to this. That this is one of the three goals that motivates me the most in life. I want a feature film, and if I have to direct it myself, then damn it, we're going to direct it
Well,
ourselves.
that's kind of what we realize is, oh shoot, we do have to direct it ourselves. Ava DuVernay, and I forget where we were and why she said this, but at one point she said, you should direct. And I was like, oh, okay, Ava DuVernay. And I, the heavens opened up, but then I realized I had no idea what that meant. No one had handed me a check. Also, who do I think I am? I've never even taken a film course. And, there are directors who would argue that that is a correct way to feel. But in reality, you do not need a film degree or need to have taken a film course to make a movie because as Brian Fuller told us back in the day when we were also thinking about directing but had no idea what that meant, being a director is about shepherding the creative vision of a piece and surrounding yourself with the team to make it happen. You surround yourself with smart people. I don't have to know every kind of camera to hire a cinematographer. I don't have to know exactly how to run my set because I can hire a first AD who does. And that is the joy of directing. So
But
whether
you
it,
do have to, you don't have to know everything, but you have to know what you don't know, or you have
yes.
to know that you don't know things so that you can then say, who do I talk to? Not just to find out the things that I don't know, but to educate me about the thing. I am ignorant of my ignorance. That is, what did Will Rogers say? It ain't what you don't know that hurts you. It's what you do know
Mhm.
that ain't so.
Right.
It is assuming that you know everything that there is to know about this thing. So you're not going to ask questions. You might think that you know that you don't have the talent for it. Whereas what somebody else will tell you is that talent is less important than preparation. That talent might just be preparation and focus over time. That you can do this if you're willing to pay the price for it. Well,
yeah,
we're willing to pay the price. Will we get it? Stay posted. You'll find out whether or not we make it all the way there. Right now, we've made it all the way to a feature, to a short that we're proud of.
very proud of. And we want, not everybody obviously will get the kind of budget we got to make a feature, but the good news is you don't need that budget.
That's
And
right.
really, every doubting voice, you have in your mind right now, I can't because of X, Y, or Z. I bet you that by the time you finish this course, you will start to realize, oh, I can make a movie. I don't even have to direct it to be an executive producer and just assemble it and make it happen. So we're going to be teaching that. September 12th is when the course actually takes place, but there's an early bird price because we just opened registration this week. If you register for this course at our low price of $297 by August 1st, you will secure your spot either in person in Southern California because it's a hybrid course, or your Zoom, which you can rewatch again and again. But also, if you're one of the first 25 people, you get a special screening of The Keeper, where before it comes out in streaming, and if you're
And
not,
then a Q&A,
yeah, Q&A with us.
because it's critical. Don't believe anyone unless their words match their behaviors. That is one of the most important lessons you can learn in life, and it's the best defense you can make. If we know enough to teach you, then we know enough to be proud of what it is that we've already done. So you'll have an opportunity to say, well, are they for real?
Yeah, so check
Uh,
it out at Hollywood. Oh my God,
Loophole.
Rosebud.
HollywoodLoophole.com.
Rosebud. Yeah, check it out at HollywoodLoophole.com and secure your spot for the screening, for the masterclass, and also some of you are members of our ongoing Life Writing Professional Workshop. It is an ongoing workshop that already has working screenwriters and directors in the workshop, in addition to prose writers. So whatever peer group you've been looking for, you have found it because anyone who takes one of our masterclass courses automatically gets a free membership in that workshop. And you
Yeah,
can,
we're doing Life Writing Professional tomorrow.
yep,
It's
yep,
totally free for people. Once you're in, you're just in. And
you're in
now
forever.
we're developing a community of people who are supporting each other.
It's
It's great. We're
great.
gonna
And
have
some
great
of
fun
you
on
are
it.
here right now, and it's great to see you here. But enough out of us. Why don't we open it up? Let people
Yes,
ask us
it's time to open
questions.
it up.
Let us know
So
what's going on in your life.
anything you can question, anything that we have said. Uh, Ask questions about, or you can tell us what's going on in your lives. We can brainstorm. You can help us to see where you are so we can help you.
Give
But
us
if it
the
involves your
news.
career, your health, or relationships, let's get into it.
That's
So,
the newscast, breaking news. Okay, let's go.
He's dead?
Sock it to us.
Oh, never mind.
Sock it to us.
Stop it. Stop it. You're going to get a visit.
I didn't say who it was. Anyway,
Actually, okay.
okay, so who would like to be first? We always say is volunteer, or you will be voluntold. We will find people. So
And don't be nervous about the podcast. If you don't want to be in the broadcast, just let us know at the beginning and we will
Okay,
roast
so
you.
Danian,
Nalina Kai.
Melina, great.
Hey, Nelena.
Hey, I just got back from a Greece and in Italy cruise,
Oh,
and there is a video in your messenger where all the way in Slovenia, there was a woman, we got to talking about books, and she loves your books. And I put the
what?
video of her talking about you and Stephen, and she didn't know about the new books coming out. So she pre-ordered right then, pulled out
What?
her phone and pre-ordered right there in Slovenia. Loved your books. I sent you the video.
I will have to find it. I'm not on Facebook very often, so I will go look for that. Thank you.
Okay.
That's amazing.
You're quite
You,
welcome.
you never know where your books are landing. That's the
And I'm
incredible
Yes.
thing.
glad you had a wonderful time.
I had an amazing
And
time.
welcome back. And by the way, Nelina is a true ally. She has helped a lot of people get published. She's helped people get onto the bestseller list.
She does it
is for
all.
real. Yeah,
She's
she's
an
a real one.
author, agent, marketer.
And if she cannot help you, she will be honest enough to tell you that she's not the one. But if she says she can do something, she does it.
It's always
And
good to
so
see
I
you.
would
Thank
suggest
you.
if you need help in terms of your writing career, reach out to her on chat right now and exchange information.
And
I
for the listening audience, how do people reach out to you?
They can reach me at my website is macro, macro, mpg, macrompg.com. That's where all of my literary endeavors are. I'm
Great.
under Lisa Woodson is my real name. Nalina Kai is my pen name.
Got
So
Great.
it.
in that, get there. Thank you both. But I mean, I was so
She can do it.
excited.
She can teach it.
Can you
And
can you repeat that address again? I'm sorry, I'm writing.
Macro, macro, M is in Mary, P is in Paul, G is in good, macrompg.com.
yeah, she can do it
A
and she
wizard
can teach it.
is.
So,
Yes, a wizard.
learn. Thank you very much, Nelina.
You're quite welcome.
All right. So, who else? Oh, I talked about Danian.
Let me unmute myself. Hey,
Hey
hey,
there.
hey, Steve, Natalie, how are you all?
We're
We're
great.
doing
Thank you for
great. How are
that
you?
great interview you
Yeah,
did with
cool.
us are we allowed to talk about the upcoming
Yeah,
Tar
yeah,
Baby
of course.
magazine
Yes,
cover?
yes.
Very excited about that.
Oh, I'm excited too, and I'm just grateful that you all did the interview. And I just think it's just going to be really special because because both of you together, and like it's so much love in the interview. I think for
Mm.
craft, for each other, for people in general. I know I learned from it, and I'm just
Fantastic.
proud to have had the chance to participate in it. So it's going to be
Well, it's
really
our
great.
pleasure.
That's
I would
great.
like to say something,
Mhm.
and that is, what can we do for you today?
Man,
You're a writer.
yeah, I am.
Yeah,
So
you are
I
on
am.
that. Where do you want to be? Okay, let me try a different one. Where do you want to be in a year? What career movement would you like 1 year from now? You look
And
at
I
yourself a
okay
year
to
from now. Where do you want to be that's different from where you are now?
yeah, I want to have my novel sold.
Okay,
I
so
really want to. Yeah, I
have you
want
already
to.
have you already finished it?
Yeah,
Okay, so what you need to do is in a year you want your novel sold.
yeah, or yeah. I'm gonna tell you this. I want to have it sold, or at least like I want to have an age. I want to have it like circulating.
Okay, no.
I want to have it sold. That's
You're
what I want.
thinking
Yeah,
small.
sold.
Yeah,
Sold.
Your
I
your
want to have
story
it
could be
sold.
your book could be circulating by tomorrow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to have it
You
sold.
want it sold.
Sold,
Speak the
baby.
truth. Speak your truth. You know what I have to do right now, and I ask your indulgence. I ask, do I have your permission to coach you?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great. You want to have a clear vision of walking into a bookstore and talking to a room full of people, and they're cheering for you, and they line up to buy your book, and you are signing one book after another book after another book, and they are happy, and people are telling you how much they loved your work. You know damn well that's what you really want. isn't it?
That is. Yeah. How do you know that?
Come on
Okay,
now.
That's exactly
because
what I
I
Talk it
know.
to.
because I am you. I'm
Yeah.
you. I've been there. I know exactly the path
Yeah.
that you're on. I know that hunger
Yeah.
to feeling that you have something inside yourself that you want to get out. And you have
Yeah.
those other voices telling you you can't do it. Think small. What right do you have? You know, you make a living. Do this. You know, who are you? All those voices are there. So what I want you to do is to focus, is to get clear, to write down 1 year from today, on July 10th, 2027, I will have signed a contract with a publishing company, okay, that pays me a minimum of 5 figures, 4 figures, whatever the heck it is.
Picking them out.
For my book. You do not pay to have your book published. People pay you. And it probably would not be a good idea to ask that it already be out. But a contract is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
We can help you with that. So let me ask you the next question. Have you published? This is a book, this is a novel you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So are you published already? Anything?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Have you published short stories?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've published, how many short stories have you published? And I mean people paid you for them.
Like like it's more than 10. I think it's like maybe like 14, but a
Quite a
couple of them
few.
are
All right,
reprints.
He's
fantastic.
an established
Fantastic.
writer.
Yeah, anything more than 10, you're in the game. Okay. You know, you are at that next level. Good. You know, so it's like you look at where you are compared to who you were before you published your first story.
Yeah.
What would you go back and tell that younger man right now?
Oh man. Don't worry. Just keep trying. Because there was a time when I remember literally wanting to publish one short story. Just one. And it seemed like the farthest thing. It seemed so far away. If
Mm-hmm.
and looking back, I would just, if I could look back and really tell myself something, I would tell myself, you've already published it. You just
So
don't
here's
know
what I
it
want you to
yet.
do. I want you to do two things, and then I want you to come back next week, next time, and tell me what happened. The first thing is I want you to write. How old were you when you first published?
When I first published, oh, I was like 47. I'm old, yeah.
47. How old were you when you first decided that you wanted to be a writer?
Man, I was like 20. I was like 26. I was,
It
Okay.
took almost 20 years.
Okay.
yeah, took a
So
long time.
there are
Yeah.
2 letters I want you to write. The first one is from where you are now to who you were at 26. What would you tell that young man? The second thing, once you have written that, I want you to put it in an envelope and mail it to yourself.
Okay.
And when it
Okay.
comes to you, it is a letter from your own future. Be that younger man. That younger
Yeah.
man is still inside you. The insecurity, the wondering if you have a voice, all this is still within you, like the rings of a tree are still there. Let yourself cry if necessary. Read that letter to yourself. It's a big, warm hug because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to imagine who you're going to be after you're published.
Yeah.
And I want you to step into the power of that human being. And I want you to embody that person. And I want you, as that person, to write a letter to who you are today.
Okay.
If you will do both of those things and get back to me, I
Okay. I will
promise
definitely.
your results, you're going to be shocked at the results.
I
But you
will.
have to do it. This is
I
not
am.
something for you
I
to.
am.
Yeah, I believe you. I believe you. So that's what I want to say. And let me shut up now. Tananarife, what you got to say?
I love what you said. I'm just wondering if you would have any interest in joining our life writing professional workshop.
I do. I do. I do.
We
I do.
focus on
Okay.
short
Actually,
stories, though,
one
full
of the,
disclosure. We don't do typically novel excerpts and that kind of thing. We do, so I don't know if you're still writing short stories,
yeah, I'm
but
still
even if,
writing short stories. Yeah, of
yeah, well,
course.
come and join us because we've got a really great group and it just helps to have an active community.
That's right. That's right. And why we say buy one of our master
Yeah,
classes
I
and you get
know, I
interest.
know.
But if you
Yeah, I'm
can't
working on that.
afford that, let us know.
No, but for some people, there are people we've let
We
in
can
who did not have a
this
master
this
course
we will let
because,
you know when we're grabbing cash. This ain't a cash grab.
yeah,
There are times
no.
when
Okay.
we do. We love making a lot of money, but what we love more is helping our people, and our people, writers, fantasy writers, black folks, martial artists, people interested in self improvement. I've
Strivers.
got a number of tribes where those tribes overlap. I try to spend all of my time where those tribes overlap, and you sound like a member of my tribe.
Yeah, I like inviting professional writers
Okay.
into the group because, life writing professional. The more professionals we have in the group, the more
So
input.
reach out to us and we'll get that taken
Yeah.
care of. And
I
let's
will
move on
definitely.
to,
Thank you for the invite.
you bet.
Thank you.
Let's see, who's next? I think Carrie might have something she wants to say, but let's see if somebody else can raise their
Carrie.
hand first.
Hey,
Anybody can
Carrie.
raise their hand and beat out
Welcome.
Carrie. Otherwise, okay, Carrie.
No, Carrie gets the star treatment because I think we're about to be in class with you. Mm. Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Carrie.
Mhm. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes,
can.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, I signed up for another master class with
I
Great.
you,
see.
and
Welcome.
I did the Klarna route where you can get them a installment payment plan
Great.
Oh, right, right,
be-
right. Yes.
because I still hate asking for help.
I understand.
I'm
And
working
here's
on
the
it.
whole thing. We offer help to the people who have the clarity to reach out and ask for it. We almost
Yeah,
always find something, but we can't give it to you. If we give it to you without you asking, we are denying you developing the strength that you're going to need to
yeah.
succeed in your career. You
I mean,
have to be willing, there has to be some part of
yes,
you that is going to grab life by the throat and shake out what you want. That's just truth.
yeah. So I'm still working on that, but I have been asking for help.
Good.
And I've gotten help.
So what can we do for you? Ask us for help.
I I I just heard you say something about a short story workshop. Is is that something that's coming up, or do you just have one of those that are
No,
just
we're doing
ongoing?
our short story workshop is ongoing. We have tons of classes about that. The life writing professional, we use short stories for that. You have bought a master class. That means you can get into life writing
You should
professional.
have gotten an invitation, Carrie, if you were in the
Yes,
master
I
class.
and I because I did your last master class.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
well
you
then
you
you're
should
in.
It was
You're
online.
you
in.
should
All right.
already be in
Yeah,
that.
I
Maybe
know.
you
I know.
didn't activate it.
Okay, I will
Yeah.
look to get
Also,
in.
so basically, come to Life Writing Professional tomorrow. Ask anything you want.
Okay,
We will support you in getting to that first publication. We know exactly how to do that. We can't
and that
get you from there to a Pulitzer Prize in a million sales, but we can get you in the game.
It's the same link as this one. We're not going to say the link over
okay.
the podcast, but it's the
I
same
got
link
that.
as this one. And we
All
meet
right.
at noon generally every other week. So, but we want to
Okay,
get you caught up. Like we want you in the site. There's a social media site where people actually can post to each other. It's not just the workshop, it's a community of writers who are in communication with each other
And we're doing this
all the time.
because writing is lonely.
okay. Yeah, I think I'm in that. I'm in that. I
Good.
I just
Well, then
haven't
you're
Okay.
already there. So
checked in
ask us
there
a
in a
specific
while.
question right now, something that involves writing or something like that, that we can answer that will be of help
Okay,
to you.
so I'm about to start a vlog, um, and I've been working with Google AI on the best avenues, but I want to turn that I wanted to turn that vlog into short stories. So should I just transcribe the recordings that I do?
So
Um,
wait a minute. Wait. So your blog is a written blog? You
no,
publish on the
it's
internet?
gonna
It's a
be
video,
me
an
talking
audio
to the
blog?
camera, but I'm going to be bringing up certain chapters of my life, like just dealing with depression and being a registered nurse. And I think we've talked about this before, me just doing a blog that'd be helpful for people who are just
So
trying
here's
to
what I
get
want you
back
to
to
do.
functioning.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to listen to what Tananarive has to say. See,
No,
have you
but I
got a
want to hear the
suggestion?
last thing.
Otherwise, I have a
I
suggestion.
want
I've
to hear
always
the
got a
last thing
suggestion.
Carrie was about to say. Carrie, I don't think you were quite finished.
Well, right now I'm in my dad's house in North Carolina. And I think I told you before that I was staying in a homeless shelter in Ventura.
Mm.
And so I've been here. By the time I get back to Ventura, I would have been here for 3 weeks. And then I received a call from my case manager that said, I'm supposed to be homeless. So how am I gone more than 2 days? You know, and I was just like, well, I am homeless in California. So but I'm trying to get stuff regulated here in case stuff doesn't work out there and I have some place that I can come back to. So I just wanted just to talk about, and then this case manager is just really been not as helpful as she could be. So I
Mm.
just wanted to talk about just being professional, having to ask for help, getting the help, and then having to deal with the bureaucracy because it is so hard to get mental health services when you ask for them, and just what I mean. I've been with this place since April. I don't even have a therapist because they don't
Mm.
have one they can assign me. So I'm doing growth therapy online, and I see a lot of commercials about that, but I'm not going to do that until they pay me. So so I just want to get this vlog as I'm feeling better because I'm feeling so much better now. And even being with my family has made me feel better because at the shelter where I'm at, which is a hotel room, it was very isolating. And I felt myself going back, and you can't have visitors. And I felt myself going back kind of backwards into
Mm.
that depression. So being out here has been, even though I've been spending a lot of time alone, but just knowing that my family is nearby and they stop by, or or I stay at their house. And so I've been slowly dealing with that, and slowly, not slowly, but I am enjoying waking up again, which was not a thing
That's
2 weeks
beautiful.
ago, a
Well,
week
first of
ago,
all, I want to give you points there, right there. And I think you've hit on something important, which is the family component, because when I think of people who don't have housing, um, generally you think of people who don't have family, where there's
Yes,
nothing to lean
yes,
back on. So
yes.
I think you're rich in that sense. And
I
it's
am
not,
very rich, but all of my family is back east, and I want
uh,
to stay in California.
okay.
So that
So
has been the thing with my family is like, come here, we can help you, we can do that. But I'm receiving such good services in California, and I still have hope that I will be feeling better and be able to get my own place there and survive. And I'm thinking about turning my dad's place into an Airbnb.
oh.
Um, and he has like a little shed in the back, and I can come and stay in that, not it's not a shed, it's like his man cave.
Well, let me
Um,
ask you about the writing part. You want to express these experiences in a series of, so it sounds like you were doing audio, like an audio blog, and you're wondering if you want to transcribe those to written
y-
form.
yeah, like I'm gonna probably use either Instagram or TikTok. Because TikTok gives you a longer recording time, but I'm going to pre-tape and then apply them to the thing. But I'm going to be just touching on different topics a day as what I go through as I recover. And I want to change those different I don't want to change. I want to make those different topics a chapter of my book, each one a different chapter. And
Interesting. Well, it
you don't
sounds
have
like,
a long time with a blog. You don't have like an hour to talk to people. But the chapters, I will be able to I would be able to expand what I was talking about in my book with more experiences from my childhood and everything and how I got to this point.
well, all of that is fascinating. We don't have as much nonfiction in the group as I'm thinking about it. A lot of our writers are fiction writers, and we welcome all writers. And the first advice I have for you is that you sound like you're very clear on what you want, which is the first step. It's something I wish my father had done. He wanted to write his life story, but it was so sprawling. I was like, why don't you do like a series of self-contained essays one at a
Yes,
time rather than thinking of
yes,
it as like a book. It's like an essay. That's a lot
yes,
easier to do. And I
yes. And
think the
I've
more,
talked to you and Steve about this too. You've mentioned that just different parts of my book, like and some of it is going to have to be fiction because I'm going to have to
Okay,
change names and
let,
and
let, let
change
me
names and people
Steve's
let me
gonna
kind
names.
of let me kind of get in here a little
he's
bit.
gonna jump in here.
I'm gonna jump in. You got two different things. One is nonfiction stories, which might collect into a nonfiction book. And you can do that simply by transcribing what it is that you're doing, polishing, and letting each of these be essays about some different observation. I would suggest that you observe things that are happening and you talk about things that not just your philosophy, but you observe what is happening and you tell a little story about the different people. How did they end up here? How did this happen? Doing that would allow you to contextualize your own journey and also to humanize the situation. If you were
Yes.
to write fiction, I would strongly suggest a very similar approach. Do you like mysteries?
Oh, I love mysteries, but I always go to the last page and read what
Never?
happened
Okay,
after. But that
good.
doesn't ever stop me from
I,
reading the whole
I
book.
suggest that and this is just off the top of my head, this is not deep. I suggest that you write a story about a homeless detective. That you write a series of stories about a homeless detective, because you know
Okay.
damn well that you have encountered so many people who have been hurt, things that have
Yes.
happened. They have not been able to find justice, and many people have been able to use detective stories because the core of a detective story is just a Dell logic puzzle. It's Colonel Mustard in the basement with the lead pipe. In the process of telling that, you have to have a background. You have to have a world that it is happening in, that the detective is bringing justice into. So if you were to think about, you tell me right now, the murder of a homeless person, the theft of something by a homeless person loses the last object, they're trying to find somebody, something like this. Anything you come up with where justice needs to be brought into the world, you could tell a story about someone who has fallen into homelessness themselves or works in a shelter or something like this, and and finds themselves by helping other people.
Yeah.
That they
That
may
would be
not be
me.
able to help themselves, but they can help other people, and they don't realize that they can't admit how smart and strong and brave they are. You want the readers to be saying, "Can't you see that you're a good person?" Because they're dealing with depression,
Yeah.
but they're
Yeah.
able to help other people. So the person is an unreliable narrator about their own inwardness. If you did that, you could write book after book after book of short, you could write story after story, solve one crime after another, as you are also contextualizing your life and processing your experience. So write your nonfiction essays, and then look for one of them that deals with a crime that you can imagine somebody solving. Then you write a mystery that needs the background so that people are following the mystery, but they're absorbing the truth of the background. If that is, you might come up with a different answer altogether, but hopefully that shows you a way of thinking that can turn the obstacle into the offering. You're looking for the pain and figuring out what, if you can figure out what to learn from the problems life gives you, you become strong enough to get the life that you want. You've been given an opportunity. Most people don't see it that way. I'm suggesting you look at it as an opportunity, as a spur to creativity.
No, I am. But my opportunity was like a reset to be able to get some rest while I recover and reset
Absolutely.
and to come out stronger and not to,
Yes.
force
So,
myself
so if I
to
was to
start
ask
telling
you,
somebody.
what is it that enabled you to reset? You could make a list of what you needed.
Oh yeah, I have a whole
You
list
put
of
that
things.
into your book. This is what they needed to get themselves together. Your help, but you're saying is your story, somebody reading that story is on their last legs. Someone reading that story is about to give up. What can you do to, in the guise of entertainment, save their life? They have no idea what you're really up to. What you're really doing is saving lives. You do that, and boy, oh boy, do you ever deserve to succeed. Because you're
Yeah.
doing the right work for the right reasons, and you're also helping yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You write that story, and we'll help you. We'll help you get to the point that you're publishing them.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I'm just starting it because I've been doing journal writing. That's all I've been able to really do, and it's just little lines here and there. Like I made it. I woke
That's how
up.
it starts.
You know,
That's how it starts.
so
Keep
that's what
writing
I've
your
been
journal.
doing.
Keep your journal. Your journal will become your source. We have to move on to the next person, but we've
All
given
right.
you enough work to get you till tomorrow, and
Yes,
we'll see you
yes.
tomorrow.
I'll see you
Okay.
tomorrow.
So Jade is next.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry I'm not on camera, but I have allergies, and I obviously don't want to give you a fright because that'd be the real horror of the
Okay.
podcast right now. But I wanted to first of all thank both of you for all of your hard work. I'm so excited to hear about the progress that you've made, especially to Nana Reeves' new book coming out, the progress that you're making for yours. So all the claps for that. The question I have for you is, I wondered if you'd be able to kind of think back on your relationships with your editors. So I recently got developmental edits back from my editor for the draft I'm working on, and I'm working on an outline that I
Is
promised
this
my
for a
agent.
book
Like,
that's been published? That's been purchased?
yes.
Okay. Good. Good. Go ahead.
So the question I have is, as you think about your relationship with editors, so I think when I first started out, like maybe on my first book, I thought about the editor as, especially because I'm very much a rule follower. And so I think I took that voice as being kind of all-knowing and omniscient and okay, that's what you think, we've got to do it. And then I think as time goes on, you have a little more confidence kind of
Yeah.
in your own voice or in pushing back and
Yes.
so I think I'm still kind of having that interplay in myself sometimes of, and I don't know if your experience is like mine, where sometimes you get notes back and it's like, okay, no, that's not the point, or no, that doesn't fit
Well, all the
fit
time.
the
Of course.
characterization.
Of
So
course.
I just wondered if you would kind of give us some insight into, as you think about both of you, your trajectories in writing and kind of that close relationship you have with editors and when to know when to lean on your own inner voice and trust that, or
Yeah,
when to lean on
I'm
a
going to defer to Tananarive because I've always got something to say. But frankly, I think that on this particular subject, you want to engage with her. She'll be very valuable to you. So Tananarive, would you come online, please, sweetheart?
What just happened? Sorry.
Okay. So
I had to step away to the
the
restroom.
question briefly
Rosebud.
described is how did you develop a relationship with editors such that you went from considering them to be the voice of God to trusting your own instincts more?
And
Oh,
what is
that's
kind of the rubric for deciding when you'll go against their advice and when you'll rely more on your own inner voice and you feel confident and you don't second guess yourself?
when you say editor, do you mean an editor who has bought a project or an editor you hired to help you with a project?
So I have a publisher who's bought this project, and this is the editor that did the developmental edits.
Okay. Justina Ireland, I'm trying to find you to spotlight you. Justina Ireland, the writer, just did a great Instagram post about this. I don't know how old it is, but she did a video on this very topic, like what is the role of the editor in your creative life? And I tend to agree with what she said. I think a lot of writers feel like when they get edits back and you disagree with something, if you don't do it, they're not going to publish your book. And maybe that is true in some places if the issues are large enough. But for the most part, editors, I think, are designed to help massage and polish and steer. Like if there was something missing for them, uh, great example would be the reformatory. The last chapter of the reformatory was not the last chapter I turned in. The reformatory ended sooner for me because for 7 years I had been writing to an image. And my editor was like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't think that's as emotionally satisfying for the reader as it is for you. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to see what happens on the other side of this image. And I thought about it, and I only had 3 days to do it, but I agreed. I thought with some thought, I said, you know what? He's right. So sometimes like what makes us cry, what makes us feel satisfied isn't translating to a reader. And when you trust an editor, now that's the important part, then yeah, maybe go ahead and make that change. But the problem is when you are newer to publishing, you don't know if you quite trust your editor. And the kinds of edits and changes that are being suggested really alter or mar something for you on a very deep level. where it feels like it's not even the story you were trying to tell anymore. And I don't know if that's your situation. What do you feel comfortable discussing the broad strokes about why you asked the question?
Well,
In
I want to
case,
be cautious because it is the podcast and being broadcast,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
but
yeah.
yeah, but I would say essentially, sometimes it can be very small. Like, oh, I would drop a description of this character a lot sooner.
Hmm.
Whereas I might feel like, well, I just gave you a full one like two paragraphs later, and there's a reason why I kind of made
Mm.
that choice. Or it could be, oh, why doesn't the character, can you slow it down and show the character's reaction? And what if they did this? And sometimes it's the what if they did that makes me kind of go, well, no, because that would run counter to their
Yeah, 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 yeah.
characterization. So sometimes but then, it's like, well, does this person know best? Have I just been living in my head with this for a year and a half and I need to just yield judgment? Or,
No, no, never yield judgment. Never. See, in television and film, sometimes you don't have a choice. If they make a suggestion, it's budget, and you're going to do it, or they're not going to make it. In this situation, when I hear an editor say, "Why don't they do this?" That reminds me of the writers' room experience Steve and I had on the Crystal Lake series, the first iteration of the Crystal Lake series, which long story short, we did not end up in that final writer's room. But what I discovered in the writer's room was that every single person around that table would have a different vision of how they would do this series. They were all
mm,
writers. Everybody had their own take on it. And an editor who says things like, "Why don't you have her do this?" sounds like someone who's trying to be a writer more than an editor. And that's how they would write it. That doesn't necessarily mean that that the way you wrote it is not the way you should write it. So I would be very cautious about creative suggestions from someone who is primarily not a writer. That
okay.
is that's the first thing you learn about Hollywood executives. They are not storytellers. So even when they give you suggestions, they don't mean literally do this. They mean do something that will feel like this. And again, you kind of have to with executives in television and film. Unless you're at a certain point, they've got the money. But
Hmm.
with a publishing industry, I think editors expect that you are not going to do everything they suggest. That's number one. Like if they give you 10 suggestions and you only take two of them to heart, you might feel like you've done your due diligence and feel like and see if you run into any roadblocks from that point. Do not feel like, oh, I have to do all of these except for maybe this one.
Right. Yeah,
That's
remember
my
that part
thought
of the
about it.
reason that they're offering suggestions is because that's their job. And if they give you suggestions and you take one of them and you're enthusiastic about that suggestion and you're saying, wow, then it satisfies the part of them that needs to tell their boss what they've been doing all day. That
Okay.
you really learn this, in Hollywood, people give you notes. I mean, Mel Brooks was talking about this. He got notes on Blazing Saddles, and on Young Frankenstein. And he would say, yes, yes, that's a brilliant suggestion. It's wonderful. He'd write it down. Let me write that down. Then as soon as he walked out of the office, he threw it away. And he didn't do a single one.
And also another approach, I remember Jordan Peele came to my UCLA class and talked about this, is there's no such thing as a stupid suggestion, which is hard to remember. It really is. The more you
Hmm.
work, it's very hard to remember this. But his view is there's no such thing as a stupid suggestion. So if someone tells him this scene is too violent, and again, he's in an industry where you do have a little more pressure to do what they ask you to do. But if they say the scene is too violent, he's like, I'm not going to make the scene less violent. That's a non-starter. But what
Hmm.
that note tells me is that they need a deeper emotional response to justify that violence, right? So even
Hmm.
if that's not specifically the kind of thing you're dealing with, look at the what they call the note beneath the note. Like they're articulating something on the surface. Like when you're making a specific creative suggestion, that's very much on the surface. What's underneath that creative suggestion? Like, what are they saying that might be missing for a typical reader? Ask yourself if that's true. Rely upon your judgment and beta readers that you trust. And if you and a couple beta readers are like, I have no idea what this editor is talking about, then that's one you can ignore. That would be my advice. Like it's like, nope, not going to do that one.
What we'd
And
like for you to do is come back and keep asking questions. Ask the next question, and the next one we'll answer that to the best of our ability. But we have to move on now because
But but
we got Mo having hand up, and we've only got 5 minutes.
last word though, feel empowered. An
Okay.
editor is not a boss.
Okay.
So an editor is someone who is supposed to, I mean, mostly someone who writes contracts, finds talent. I mean, they're doing a lot of other stuff. Part of what they do is they give creative feedback. They are not your boss. They are your partner in terms of the creative journey of your story. So bear that in mind going forward, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yeah.
You bet. Mo.
Hello, thank you. I've been out of pocket there for a little bit.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, Mo. I
Mhm.
have to do this, and please pardon me.
Please what?
Start. Okay, please pardon me. I've got to interrupt you because what I want you to do is I want you to start this the way I've asked you to start it. We're talking about their morning ritual, so I
Yes.
know where you are. So go with morning ritual. Start there, and then we will proceed.
Morning ritual. Woke up, motivated, meditated, and breathed, first of all. My attitude was positive that particular day. Various days. I had,
Talk about today.
oh, today was awesome.
Okay,
Um,
great.
Everything was there, gratitude, intent. I
Did you
accomplished
notice the way your body
everything.
language changed as soon as you said that?
Yes.
Did everybody see that? That as soon as he went to today and was talking about something positive, he sat up straight. His face changed. His vocal tonality changed. This is what you're looking for because that's what you have to do every morning to get yourself going is remember what does it feel like to feel good? And then talk to yourself until that because that is the place from which you have the resources to help your sons and to do the things that you need. Okay, go on. You're okay. So now tell me what we can help you with today.
Well, today, there were, oh my God. I don't know if people are online. Did anyone else get the notification in the news about a nuclear strike that just happened in the Gulf of Hormuz?
No.
Okay, so how do we as writers get the visceral reaction you just felt when I said that? Because it's not true.
Okay.
Reaction models and platforms are the thing to bring us together. It goes into the magic formula intent. Today, I am writing, I'm looking at different things, I'm completing my writings and everything else I'm doing. And for me as a writer, and I didn't mean to shock anybody, there was no nuclear strike at all.
So
But
allow me to ask a question, and this is
sure,
critical.
That was scary.
Is what is your question?
the question is, this particular question is just as some people reacted to a nuclear strike in the Gulf of Hormuz. How do we, as writers, if you're doing a podcast, short story podcast, as some ideas I have that are
Okay,
kicking around in
Bo,
my
let's
head.
start over again. I'm
Okay.
asking you for a question. I'm not asking you for
The,
all the
the
context.
question is how, as a writer, do you get the visceral response in that first sentence of a story that hooks them?
Okay, have you ever
Giving
read a
that as an
book?
example.
Okay, have you ever read a story that gave you a visceral response?
Yes,
What did they do?
it was, believe it or not, high school Moby Dick. They called me Ahab.
Call
Um,
me Ishmael.
Ishmael, excuse me, excuse me, Captain Ahab Ishmael. That whole thing immediately, every time I hear that, brings me back to that book.
Yeah, but
That's
you
what
said
was
what I
holding me.
asked was, and I'm not sure you're answering it.
Okay.
Did you the first time you read that? Did that sentence, "Call me Ishmael," give you a visceral reaction?
Yes, because I didn't know who the hell Ishmael was.
Okay, is that the reaction? There's a world of difference between "Call me Ishmael" and there was a nuclear strike in the Gulf of Hormuz. You're going to get a very different response.
Exactly.
If you want the kind of response you got that knowledge would give you, then name a story that
Hmm.
you read that produced that response in you, or the closest you can come. Can you think of one?
Um, it wasn't one word, but the one story that a book that I actually had to put down as
Hmm.
a young kid in high school. I was reading
Okay,
Salem
you're
and
giving me
Slot.
context again. I did not ask. You're showing that's the way you think. And actually, that is a lot of the way that storytellers think. But I also know that you do that more than is optimal for you. If I
Right.
ask you a specific question, you will spend a half hour explaining why you want to ask it rather than asking me the question. And
Okay,
you do that to
so
yourself. So there goes all your energy and all your time. Whereas if you'd answered the question, you could then, if I need some additional context, I'll ask for it. So I'm asking you the question. Have you ever read a story that created an initial reaction similar to the one you want to create?
yes, the dead are quick,
The dead
right?
are quick. And do you remember what was the first couple sentences? What was it?
Um,
What did the writer do? How did they do it?
I can't remember the
Okay,
first
it's
couple
okay.
sentences because
But
I always remember that the dead are quick, and then it was the movie, The
okay,
Quick
so
and Dead.
so what we're saying is that what the answer to your question is to see how it's been done. The
Okay.
books, you want to know how to grab somebody really fast.
Yes.
And so you might ask the question. You will find, if you read enough stories, you will find stories that said the in a billionth of a second, the Gulf of Hormuz went from a thriving area of the world to 100 square miles of glowing glass.
Excellent. Love it.
Okay,
Love it.
you will find a story. What you're looking for is stories that hit you that hard. This is where, reading short stories becomes critical. And there's writers who hit you hard. Harlan Ellison was fantastic at the first line of the story. You know who wrote this damn thing.
Yep.
Okay, so it's just a matter of and I'm not trying to point my finger at you. Understand that I have a
Oh
great deal of
my!
respect for you.
Oh, stop it, Sensei.
It's you reveal how much research you've been doing. If you've been reading short stories, and I say, is there a short story that gets the kind of response you want? You should have a catalog of that. Say, I've been reading so many stories. This is how this I felt this here. Let me take another look and see how they did it. They did that here. Uh, um, Quentin Tarantino has an encyclopedic knowledge of film. Whatever effect he wants people to feel, he will think about, Ennio Morricone used a sting during a scene in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly where Sergio Leone used this 70 millimeter lens, this movement of the character moving from left to right, this symbology of a graveyard, this, and you felt this way. And he will imitate that stuff in his movies. And because he's not making movies about real life. He's making movies about the movies about real life. So he will not chew it and digest it as much as somebody who's writing about real life. He's got his own style. It's a Quentin Tarantino style. That what you need to do is do more research. That the answer to all your questions are going to be who does that and how did they do it? What I pulled up for you was just a memory of the way I've seen thriller writers who have to drop you into the word. It's the equivalent of I dropped to one knee and fired twice. That's how they used to start detective stories and the old black mask mysteries. Immediately you want to know, well, who are you? And why are you so cool under pressure? And what is the situation where people are trying to kill you? And what's going to happen? A story like that, you have to read a line like that. You have to read the next line to create context. Then, if you keep it up, you have to finish the paragraph, and then you have to finish the page, and now you're invested in the story. So what you did about the nuclear explosion in the Gulf of Hormuz gets a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
My reaction was, that's interesting. I wonder if it's true. You know, because my assumption is that my phone would have lit up if that had happened.
Mm-hmm.
But, it might also be time to say, well, let's end this and let's go take a look at the news, and then, we'll all go together when we go. Um, it's it's your question is one of the best questions to ask, and within the 6-step life writing process, where am I handling that question? If you were following the 6-step life writing process, what is it? Where is the answer included in that process? What is it?
To settle down and because
That's not a part of the process. The
okay,
process is you write a story, you write a sentence every day. You
yes,
write 1 to 4 short stories a month. You finish and polish and submit one a month. You don't write except to editorial request. You read 10 times as many words as you write, and you repeat this process 100 times. Which one of those steps solves your question?
um, reading more short stories to understand pacing.
Okay.
I'm
Now,
all
I
for the
need you to
pacing.
repeat back as much as possible. You're talking about why it's true. What was the step? You're so close.
Step is to write one sentence a day. And
No. The step is to read 10 times as many stories as you write.
read
Read
10
10 times as
times.
many words as you write. See, that specificity, the fact that you free associate and go in other directions, will end up being your superpower. Once you have figured out the difference between free association and going straight down the middle, that you have to have both. You have to have the ability to go straight down the middle. See, I know that you are extremely intelligent. You're not average. I know that. I also know the only thing that has stopped you, which is the fact that you have a hard time going from A to B to C to D, which means if you learn how to do that, if I can help you with that, boy, oh boy, is the rest of your life going to click into place. You're going to be shocked at how much better things get the instant you do that. Don't you dare feel bad about yourself when it happens. Because that'd be the natural thing is, oh God, I'm so stupid. I should have done. No, no, no. You were doing the best you could and functioning under real tension. So if you can learn this to answer the question as asked, I guarantee you will be functionally twice as smart as you are right now.
Well, Steve, I truly appreciate this, and that, and I'm going to hold you to your promise
Which is
last year that you will do the voice of Baldwin Blackpaw if I get this as an anime series for Crack Rats.
okay. I don't remember saying that, but okay.
No, well, you weren't Baldwin Blackpaw. It was the other rat
Okay.
that would
Whatever
do.
you say.
Yeah,
That
man.
sounds like fun. I'll
Yeah,
do it at
like
least
Tanner
once.
Reed said, I'd be the director, so it's
Yeah.
whatever you say as long as you get the
All
check.
right. So
Thank you.
does that help you?
It helps
Read,
me a lot.
read, read. Look for the emotions that you feel. Read the best stuff you can get, and where you come across, I want to be able to evoke that emotion. Study it. Write it
Well,
down.
I'm going to have a lot of time of reading as I'm going to get this spinal surgery. I've been researching and everything else. I'm going to have some downtime. Whereas CJ, and he waved at you guys earlier, hear me talking, that he's going to help me a bit. And I was really feeling guilty about it because his mother was always counting on him and his twin brother to help them. And I don't want him to be in a caretaker role again.
I
So I
understand.
have to be very careful.
Well, if you're going to help them, it's going to be critical for you to learn how to go directly down the middle. Understand that your tendency is going to be that, and that guilt will be a way of your ego protecting its current behaviors. Forget
Very
about
good.
guilt, no shame, no blame, just, oh, okay, I did it again. When you start noticing, oh, I did it again, oh, I did it again, you're correcting yourself.
Thank you.
You're getting
And
better.
I realize that even with my PT right now, during the exercises they gave me, I started, I started doing Zenkibadachi, riding horse stance, and trying to keep it there for just 30 seconds
Okay.
and getting saying this is pain I can deal with. It
May,
doesn't
may I?
scare me.
You
Go ahead.
can get. My experience suggests that if you will do the morning ritual and the warrior walk, what I'm now calling the magic ritual, which is how far do you want to go, where'd you start, where do you want to go, if you will do that, it'll be much easier for me to coach you.
Well, thank you, Sifu. Thank
Okay,
you,
okay, you betcha.
Tanarive, and
Okay,
I'll
and
step
let
out.
let me get Tananarive in here, and you want to
I'm
make
in
final
here.
statements?
Oh, look at me. I'm spotlighted. Well, for those of you who are here in our live studio audience, I did get those NetGalley links so you can get a sneak peek at my, actually, it's a novelette. It's not a short story called Battle of the Roundhouse, very loosely based on an incident from my family history my great grandmother told me. You can get either the audiobook or the digital book in the chat. If you're listening on the podcast, you're like, well, how come I can't get it? Well, you have to join my mailing list. It's anonymouslist.com or Steve's at stephenbarneslist.com. So you get the invitation to come to the Life Writing Live episodes. And other than that, go out and make yourself the hero or heroine in your own story.
The hero in the adventure of your lifetime.
Bye
Take care, everybody. Okay,
bye,
everybody, unmute yourselves and
everybody.
say goodbye. Let's get into our weekend. I'm going to the beach tomorrow.
Peace and long life.
You all
Peace and
later.
chicken grease.
Pleasure.
Take care, everybody. Sarah, Ellis, hello. Bye bye. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.